August the 5th, where his voice was heard. Isaiah 42 verse 2 to 3 says, "He will not cry out, nor raise his voice, nor cause his voice to be heard in the street. He will bring forth justice for truth." From his childhood, Jesus conformed his life strictly to Jewish laws. He manifested great wisdom in his youth. God's grace and power were upon him. God's word, by the mouth of Isaiah, describes the office and work of Christ and shows the sheltering care of God over his Son in his mission to earth. That man's relentless hatred, inspired by Satan, should not be permitted to thwart the design of the salvation's great plan. Christ's voice wasn't heard in the street in noisy contention with those who were opposed to his doctrine. Neither was his voice heard in the street in prayer to his Father. His voice was not heard in joyful mirth. His voice was not raised to exalt himself and to gain the applause and flattery of sinners. When engaged in teaching, he withdrew his disciples away from the noise and confusion of the busy city to some retired place more in harmony with the lessons of humility, piety, and virtue, which he would impress upon their minds. He shunned human praise and preferred solitude and retirement to the noise and confusion of mortal life. His voice was often heard in earnest, prevailing intercessions to his Father. Yet for these exercises he chose the lonely mountain and frequently spent whole nights in prayer for strength to sustain him under temptations he should meet, and to accomplish the important work he came to do for humanity's salvation. His petitions were earnest and mingled with strong cries and tears. And notwithstanding the labor of soul during the night, he ceased not his labor throughout the day. The chief priests and scribes loved to pray in the most public places, not only in synagogues, but in the corners of the street, that they might be seen by all and praised for their piety. Their acts of charity were done in a most public manner, and for the purpose of calling the attention of the people to themselves. Their voices were indeed heard in the streets, not only in exalting themselves, but in contention with those who differed with them in doctrine. The Lord, through his faithful prophet, shows Christ's life in marked contrast to the hypocritical chief priests, scribes, and Pharisees. Review and Herald, December the 31st, 1872. I hope that this was enough to carry you through your day. Remember to join us tomorrow. Goodbye!